Now for this ban list, we're going to the deck roasts. So welcome everybody. We're now at the deck roast section. We have TheSliferSlacker here with his best Dark Magician profile. This is from February 2024, so not that long ago, 2 months ago. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, Turbo, Control, Yugioh. We got all the buzzwords in there to get some fatty views. You love to see it. Now, Slifer the Slacker, I think he's actually a fairly frequent commenter and stream watcher of this channel, so let's go. So, if I'm biased, well, yeah, look, I think his profile might be based on stuff I've made. Or at least, you know, he's got similar mindsets in terms of Dragoon Turbo, you know, as opposed to all the other roasting series profiles where they're, well, you know what I mean.
Reminds me more of like a Battle City build. This kind
Battle
of takes
City?
inspiration from when Joey lent Yugi Red Eyes whenever he fought Kaiba. So, 2 copies Dark Magician, 1 copy.
That's a great way to cater to the casual audience, right? Because I get a lot of comments when I run 2 Red Eyes, 2 DM. People like, well, that's a lot of bricks, and you know, the casuals say, oh, Dragoon's a Red Eyes card, not a DM card. I don't know. They say all the stupid shit, and we could just be like, hey, well, actually, in the Battle City arc, Yugi had Red Eyes, so you know, it's actually my Battle City Yugi deck. That's a great way to get the casuals on board.
Copy of the Red Eyes Black Dragon, a playset of the Illusion of Chaos.
Nice.
And yes, it is canon at some point in Yu-Gi-Oh! That Yugi played Red Eyes, so makes sense. Tamias, 1 copy of the, yes, that is a Magician's Force Dark Magician Girl.
Beautiful.
1 copy of the Apprentice Illusion Magician.
Nice.
Playset of Rod. A playset of Souls.
Really solid list so far. And you know how he's like not really explaining anything? Because like if you know the cards, you know this just makes sense. It's like, yes, this is a Rota. These are all one-offs because they're pretty bad and highly searchable. 3 Rod, 3 Souls because you want to see your engine starting stuff.
A playset of Soul Servant. A playset
Nice.
of Red Eyes Fusion.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Triple copies of Prep, just to kind of really max out.
Wow, 3 Prep, 3 Illusion of Chaos. That's a lot of engine. In like a ref build, that's a lot of like, give me the engine, you know? But hey, if that works, that works.
Consistency. 1 copy of the Eye of Timaeus.
Yo! I love Ghost Eye of Timaeus, because it could be any card, man. It could be any card. The Ghost Rare version is searchable, guys. That's an official Konami rule, right? No, I don't mind it. With the amount of Prep and Illusion of Chaos, like, he's always going to have Magician Souls. He basically has 9 copies of Magician Souls. So the fact that the games where he opens the 1 Eye of Timaeus, he'll probably have the Magician Soul because he's got 9 copies, right? You know what? I'll allow Eye of Timaeus if it's a 1 and it's Ghost Rare. That's cool. That's cool. You can make exceptions when the rest of the build is phenomenal as well, right? It's very cool. 1 circle. We always like to see 1 circle, kind of 1 Eternal Soul. It just means, you know, people kind of get it. People kind of get it. Sorry, I'm just replying to Blake. He messaged me that stuff. Alright. We're back.
1
Circle.
Dark Magical Circle. 1 copy of Dark Magic Attack. 1 copy of Magician's Salvation.
Alright, look, Dark Magic Attack should probably not be in the main. But we can make an exception.
1 copy of the Secrets of Dark Magic, the Magicalized Fusion. I am on a Secret Village of Spellcasters, as well as the 1 copy
nice.
of Terraforming, 1 copy of Called by the Grave.
I don't know if you need Magicalized once again, but you know, I love the one-ofs. Normally one-ofs you're like, why? But everything here is highly searchable kind of thing, and I think it's actually pretty good. I think it's pretty good. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Someone just mentioned like Winder is still a thing. But like, yeah, Summon Limit gone, but Winder's still a thing. Wild. Kind of wild, no? I'm just gonna go and post. Oop, I'm just gonna go and post. I didn't post this in the Discord or the DM group. I completely forgot, to be honest. So, Soz, my mid-profile, I'm just gonna go and do that real quick. I didn't tell a bunch of people we're going live. But yeah, bizarre. Bizarre ban list, and now epic DM roasting profiles. Let's go. We love to see it. We do love to see it. Called by, of course, you want to play that. Terraforming is great because you have Salvation and you have Village, so it's actually like pretty good having the two options. And then obviously if you open one, it's only a brick if you open Terraforming Village and the other field spell. But in that case, you hopefully have a way to Illusion of Chaos, and in this build there's 6 copies of it. And then you're able to, of course, just go and, you know, put one of those copies back so that, or you can just put the Terraforming back, you know. Probably not though. Probably put one of the field spells back and then Terraforming to get it. This is if you haven't been drolled and all that fun stuff, of course. But yeah. Okay. I have successfully posted the link in the Discords and all the fun things. So let's get back to the profile.
Now that I feel like Fire King, I feel like a lot of the more modern decks kind of revolve around a lot of monster effects. So once you burn that Dragoon Negate, it is nice to just have the skill drain. And just in case.
Oh man, this is back when skill drain was at 3. Good times, good times. Now we know every Floodgate is at 1. Even Summon Limit. No, Summon Limit is just banned. Why didn't they just put it to 1 like all the other ones? I don't know.
You run into the Runic. I'm playing the Anti-Spell Fragment.
Speaking of Anti-Spell, this one went to 1. Wait, Village and Anti-Spell. That's kind of wild.
As well as a copy of Eternal Soul. So guys, that's gonna round it out from our main deck. It's a clean 40 cards.
Beautiful.
I don't normally go over 40 whenever I make any of my builds. I usually stick around that sweet spot of 40. I don't really care for 60 card builds.
That's a nice map.
So we've got a nice little Yugi token here, Yana Yugi. So this is personal preference here. I do play the 1 Dark Paladin.
Skill drain still at 3. Well, there you go. I am that dumb. Oh, I'm thinking of Master Duel. Everything's. Am I stupid? Yeah, skill drain's still at 3. Weird. Some Floodgates are okay, but not all of them. It's truly a wild time. Also, Dark Paladin to start off the profile. I get it is summonable from the Eye, but like, do you want to play 1 fusion target for your 1 Eye of Timaeus Unsearchable, which will come up 1 every 20 games, and you could probably just make Dragoon instead. Like, I think Dark Paladin might be more useful against, say, Sky Striker. But then if they have Imperm, it's like, well, you just should have made Dragoon, right? Because the Dragoon can't get Impermed. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this one, Chief. But, I mean, it's a Battle City Yugi deck. This is a really good profile with a couple of, like, his own spicy things in there. So, you know what? We can appreciate that compared to a lot of the other Roasting Series decks where it's a bunch of their own random shit and then a little bit of, like, good consistency. Like, I play 1 ref or 2 ref, and you're like, God, come on, man. This is the opposite, where there's a lot of good consistency with ref and the generic engine staples and really good ratios on most of the engine. There's a couple of cards you could probably cut for more reliable generic hand traps or Floodgates, but you know what? It's fine. I also have a soft spot for Dark Paladin, but yeah, Dragoon has just kind of replaced that for me, at least. But I obviously still love this card. But yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
One of 2 reasons. We've got a Magician's Force First Ed corrected art. This thing, I think, on the raw market goes anywhere from like $2 to maybe $2,000, maybe $500. Yeah, that guy's a beauty. First Ed.
Is it really worth that much?
2 copies of the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. 2 copies of the Dark Magicians. I've got.
Okay, I'm a big non-believer of 2 Dark Magicians. There's a couple of reasons. One of them is Soul Servant exists, and you can shuffle back these guys, right? Dragoon is the one where obviously you want 2 to 3 because it's that good. You always need to be able to make it. Like if there's a game state where you need to make Dragoon and you have the materials to do it and you can't because your Dragoons are in the bin, like you are probably going to lose that game. But with the Dark Magicians, it's like, oh no, I can't make the Dark Magicians. Anyway, like that card doesn't really do anything. You know, you're never desperate to make Dark Magicians. If you really needed to, you'll probably have a way to get there via Soul Servant or something else. You know, it's just not a high priority target. Like, let's look at it this way. If you have 2 DMs and 2 the Dark Magicians for context and 2 Red Eyes, you could all have 2 Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. You could almost say they're on the same like level, right? If you run a card at 2 and 2, you could say, oh, they're the same power level, right? Around 2 and 2. That is completely not right here, right? Dragoon is clearly the best fusion we have. So if anything, it should be like the 3 or the 2. And the other ones are probably all 1s because they're so specifically kind of vague on when they're good. They're very niche for when they're good. Like Master of Chaos is good when you're going for game. Dark Magicians is good when you've kind of bricked and you can generate advantage through cards over turns, or for pushing for game as well. Dragoon is good all the time, no matter what. First or second, doesn't matter. Card's good. But anyway. Your Happy Colossus is back at 1 Red Ranger. Oh, I'm very sorry. I hate that.
Got 2 copies of the Master of Chaos. I've actually been...
Oh, okay. That's another wild one. You definitely don't want 2 copies of this. Interesting fact about this man is Master of Chaos can summon back Dragoon, which is sensational. A lot of people see Master of Chaos and think it's for the board wipe effect. We normally play it just because in battle phase you can push for game. It summons itself and a, Dark Magician from the grave a lot of the time in the OTK combo. But, you could, in theory, bring back a Dragoon, bring back, half the deck, because half the deck is Dark or Light. There's a lot of stuff that is in your bin that you could bring back. So that's really cool. It's just, if the effect was a quick effect to do the Tribute of Light and Dark, banish the opponent's field, then I think we would probably play it at more than 1. I don't think it needs more than 1 slot. Anyway.
been thinking about cutting down Master Chaos and actually playing Gaia the Dragon Champion alongside Dark Magician, the Knight of...
Yeah, this card is also really bad. Like, if you could ever make Dark Magician the Knight of Dragon Magic, I'm like, yeah, it does piercing. You know what you can make instead? Dragoon. Like, I understand that it says, once per turn, when a monster destroys an opponent by battle, inflict damage to opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. Guys, where have we read that effect before? But without the battle part. Yeah, it's on Dragoon. And I understand this does piercing. It says your monsters get piercing. Is that for the turn? Yeah, if your monster attacks a defense position, inflict piercing to the opponent. I don't think that's ever come up, and I'm sure it could at some point. I'm not saying it will never come up. But by golly, is Dragoon just strictly better? If you're ever in a situation where you need to do piercing for game, you can probably just do Dragoon for game. So if you summon Dragoon, you're always going to be using at least a Dark Magician. You might not be using Red Eyes, could be any level 7 dragon, any dragon effect monster. But you're making Dragoon with DM, so it has at least 1 pop. This card, Dark Magician, the Knight of Dragon Magic, the Gaia Fusion, says, once per turn, when your monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. It's like Dragoon's effect to pop something and burn for its attack doesn't use your attack, and you still have an Omni Negate. Like, there is no reason to ever really make Dark Magician, the Knight of Dragon Magic, except if we get a way to trigger its second effect. Pardon me. The second effect of this card, the third effect rather, if this card is destroyed, special summon a Dark Magician and a Gaia the Dragon Champ from hand, deck, extra deck, or the grave. That is a really good effect. Sadly, it's if this card is destroyed. How do we trigger that in the battle phase? We don't have a way outside of popping our Eternal Soul. And sadly, if you're summoning Dark Magician, the Knight of Dragon Magic, you have already used Dark Magician, a dragon, because you're not going to use a warrior in DM, let's be real. So you've used Dark Magician, you've used a dragon, and you've used a Secrets of Dark Magic or some sort of fusion spell, right? So you've already used 3 cards to get here. Now you also need, an Eternal Soul somewhere, and then a way to pop said Eternal Soul. Or just another way to pop this card. And it can't be the Rocket Tracer engine. I've already tried, and that locks you into Darks. And then this card has to summon Gaia the Dragon Champ, which is a wind. So you can't do it like that. Oh, yo, Ghosty's here. What's up? So yeah, the interesting thing about Dark Magician, the Knight of Dragon Magic is this almost had the potential to be a good card. They just didn't quite give it enough text or enough ways to be useful. If this card said at the end of its attack, or after this card's attacked in the battle phase, you may destroy this card, special out DM and Gaia the Dragon Champ. That would have been sensational. I understand this is like a crossover with the piercing effects and some of the Gaia Dragon Champ effect stuff. Great, but no one really cares. Summon this, let it do something unique, because right now it is a poor man's Dragoon. It is literally a worse Dragoon that is summoned off nearly the exact same requirements. Yes, the dragon you use has to be a 7 or higher. Hello, we normally use Red Eyes or Timaeus. Like, it's nearly going to always be the same requirements in the same way we make Dragoon for a strictly worse card, worse stats, worse effects, and a floating effect that doesn't really do anything. Yeah, as Harry Senpai said, this card does have text. It just has the text of nothing. They just missed the mark, okay? They could have made it good, and it came out after Dragoon. And Master of Chaos and Dark Magician, the Knight of Dragon Magic, suffer from this syndrome of, coming out after the most powerful god card to exist, right? Dragoon I'm going to dub as a god card, like it is. The Egyptian gods are a joke. Dragoon is a straight up god card, right? He's an Ultra Instinct G. However, every fusion we're going to get after him is going to feel horrendous because, we've had the ceiling. We've had the best card ever. And everything after that just doesn't hit the same. And they could make this better by making the fusions we get later either really generic, really easy to summon, contact fusions, or just really generic materials, or just make them have really generically good effects, or effects that play into one another. A lot of archetypes have an effect 1 that plays into effect 2, and it could even play into an effect 3 in the graveyard, for example. So if they simply made this card, when it destroys, a monster, you can destroy itself, and then great, you get to summon out DM and Gaia. And then you had some OTK potential with this card. This card, along with Master of Chaos and Dark Magician, all offered you 3 different alternatives to pushing for game in the battle phase, which, let's be real, Dark Magician is normally a going first setting up deck, so having more options going second isn't necessarily bad. However, we don't necessarily have a good fusion to go to turn 1 as well, besides Dragoon, so that is another option. They could make us a card that's good for going first, a play that helps us set up a little bit more. Dark Magician is kind of meant to be that, but it just misses the mark, so we just make Dragoon instead. And just go, we're just going to make it negate. That's better than trying to draw a card. Let's go and have a look at what else is in here, but I think I've ranted for long enough about these fusion cards.
Dragon Magic. 1 copy of Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight.
See, Dragon Knight is good because if you get Circle Eternal Soul in it, you actually have this really nice lock. It's still outable by evenly match and, non-targeting stuff and some other crap, but, it's actually a very nice kind of little lock. It's not impenetrable. There is ways to beat it. And you'll learn that once you've established that lock. You'll be like, cool, I think I should win this game. And then your opponent has some wild shit that makes you not win the game. But anyway, it's very cool.
I do play the Amulet Dragon. I used to tech this because...
Alright, there's a lot of extra deck spots here wasted. Amulet Dragon is one of the very first DM fusions. It's quite literally got DM writing Amulet Dragon on it. And for some reason, this card doesn't identify as DM, whereas the Dragon Knight one does, where DM's wearing a knight armor. Anyway. So this card, you target, when it's summoned, you target any number of spells in both graves. Yeah, in the graveyards. You banish them, and then you gain 100 attack for everyone banished. So against Sky Striker, it was really good to just get rid of all their resources in the bin, turn Engage off. Super nice, but if you're using Eye of Timaeus or a Dragon and Dark Magician to make a fusion against Sky Striker, hi, you can just make Dragoon. You can make Dragon Knight if you have the Circle and Eternal Soul. I feel like there's still better options than making Amulet. Well, Amulet might seem better in a vacuum. You're probably going to summon Amulet and they're going to go Widow Anchor, right? You're going to summon Amulet, they're just going to negate it. Imperm, Widow Anchor, you name it. You may as well just go into Dragoon, because at least they can't target it. And Sky Striker cards, a lot of them target, besides Zeke. Zeke is a big problem, but that's a conversation for another day. So, in short, Amulet Dragon is never really worth it. It does have a floating effect, but it has to be when this card is destroyed, and then you target a spellcaster, engrave, and summon it. So what, you're summoning back your vanilla Dark Magician. Yay, whoop-de-doo. In theory, that's all you would have engraved if you summon Amulet Dragon. Yes, in theory, this could summon Dragoon, because he is a spellcaster that could be in your grave. But once again, it's a moment of just make Dragoon instead of this. So, Amulet Dragon suffers from not only being an older card, but also being those same material that we mentioned with the Dragon Knight previously. The Dark Magician, the Magical Dragon Knight, or whatever, the Gaia one. The past 3 cards we've looked at, Dragon Knight, Magical Dragon Knight, and Amulet Dragon, they're all Dark Magician and a Dragon, right? They're all the same material. So we have 4 fusions if we include Dragoon that are all pretty much Dark Magician and a Dragon. So it's like 4 cards have the same material requirements, and one of them surpasses the other 3 by a crazy amount, and it is the third one to come out in order. So like Amulet is first, so you expect it to be the weakest, then's Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, then's Dragoon, which is up here, and then comes the Dark Magician, the magical guy. I would probably put Dragoon at the top, Dragon, I've got to get these names right because they're all really complicated. They're all very similar. Dragoon is obviously the top, and Amulet Dragon is obviously down here on the floor. Then I want to put Dark Magician, the magical Dragon Knight, and then I think the normal Dragon Knight. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone though. But yeah, we need either easier ways to make all those weaker fusions, like contact fusion ways or a fusion spell that will summon them, or they just need to make them better, which I know they can't errata them, or they just refuse to do something like that. But anyway, next, we got to look at these next cards, and yeah, I mean, that's, as I said, that's a lot of extra X spots wasted. I would cut 1 Dark Magician, 1 Master of Chaos, Amulet Dragon, Dark Paladin, and Dark Magician, the Magical Dragon Knight. That's 5 extra X slots. That's like the Dark Selene package with Artemis and, you know, I don't know, IP Masquerena, right? That's easy replacements. But let's see what else he's got.
Because of Sky Striker, it just really kind of was a turn on like an off by the Sky Striker, Dark Cavalry, and the Dark Magician.
Oh my god, okay, I should have let him keep cooking. I said we have 5 wasted slots, we now have 7 wasted slots. So, Dark Cavalry suffers from the same problems as a lot of these cards mentioned beforehand. However, Dark Cavalry's requirements are very unique. Similar to that of Dark Magician and Magical Dragon Knight, it is summoned off a warrior monster, or it can be a warrior. Dark Magical Knight can be a warrior or a dragon, but it typically is a dragon because we don't play warriors. So Dark Cavalry in our own deck, we can't use outside of Eye of Timaeus. We don't have a warrior card to play that's generic enough. There's not like a link one that we can make that's a warrior. There's not like a hand trap that's a warrior. There's strictly just not a warrior card we really play. So first of all, if you're playing Dark Cavalry, it either means you have to play Eye of Timaeus or some other jank stuff, right? So immediately off the gate, the card's bad because it's forcing you to change the main deck for the worse. It's not making your deck better. It's not like you can slap in an Ash Blossom that's a warrior and, you know, have a good time. No, there's nothing like that. It's really bad. So, in saying that, what does the card actually do? Dark Cavalry is a negate if they target one of your cards. It's not once per turn. You can discard a card when they target one of your cards and negate something. Not a bad effect at all. Not a bad effect at all. It also has piercing. Hold on, we've heard this before on the other Gaia fusion. Yes, both the Gaia fusions have piercing. Okay, that's cool, I guess, but strange that we have 2. Next, it gains 100 attack for all the spell traps on the field and grave. Hold on, we've kind of heard that before on Amulet Dragon gaining attack for spells. So you can see there's kind of a lot of effects here that are being repeated. There's nothing really that new. Because if we look at Dark Paladin says when your opponent activates a spell, discard a card, negate it. Not once per turn. So for every spell, you can just keep discarding your whole hand to negate spells. Dark Cavalry is a similar thing here, but instead of spells, for targeting cards. So we have this massive fusion pool of cards with similar effects and no generic way to summon them. Well, I say that as if Eye of Timaeus doesn't exist. But let's be real. Eye of Timaeus is not searchable. Said Eye of Timaeus been searchable, maybe some of these fusions are more viable. I'm going to say that if there's a contact fusion way to make them, if there's a DM fusion spell, if Eye of Timaeus is searchable, there's 3 outcomes. These cards all suddenly become perhaps relevant. There might be a matchup where making Dark Cavalry is really good. One of the main reasons I'd say we don't play it is because we can't make it effectively. We don't have warriors, right? Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight, is probably... Maybe it could be one of those niche picks, but let's talk about her real quick. She has another unique effect. It is actually a quick effect. Yes, one of our fusions that's not Dragoon has a quick effect. I'm pretty sure once per turn, during either player's turn, you can send a card from hand to grave. Target a face-up card on the field, destroy it. Not bad. Not bad, but then you remember you used 3 cards to get into her. Rutroll. So you either used DMG and Eye of Timaeus, which is technically 2 cards. However, that will not happen that often, as you need to find a way to Eye of Tomias, which there isn't. So, that's the most efficient card advantage way to get into her. 2 cards. Then you still need a discard for the pop. Okay. The other way is obviously Secrets of Dark Magic or anything similar to that, which would need DMG, a dragon, and those secrets, for example. That would take 3 cards. And you would need a 4th to have the targeted card destroy it. And because it's both turns, let's say you do need 2 cards, basically, kind of like Dragoon. Now let's just remind you that all of these fusions need 2 to 3 cards to be summoned. They all need Eye of Tomias and DM, or they need DMG and Tomias, or they need secrets and 2 cards. So 3 cards or 2. 2 with 1 being unsearchable, 3 with all of them being searchable. And let's just remind you that Dragoon can be summoned off Red Eyes Fusion, and Red Eyes Insight again, Red Eyes Fusion, for 1 card. 1 card. 1 singular card. Remaining cards in hand will be 4, meaning you have 1 for the discard, 1 for the discard on the next turn, blah, 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 blah. You get what I'm saying? It is truly baffling how bad the DM fusions can be. Or the fact that we don't have a way to make them. If they do make a DM fusion spell that lets us summon all of the DM fusions in a more material efficient way, that could be really nice. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, everyone will just play Dragoon then. Perhaps they can make it so it can't make Dragoon. Make it so that it can only make the Dark Magicians. Make it so that it can only make some of the OG fusions. Make it, there's ways to restrict it so that it only makes some of those weaker fusions instead of making Dragoon, right? I think a lot of those weaker cards and the older fusions, or even some of the newer fusions that are just weak, a lot of them could be viable if that was a, spell we get in the future. But right now, it's just not happening. Harry Senpai said, Snake Rain for DM. Let's go. Send all 4 bricks and then Soul Servant draw 4. Based. Giga based. Well, that's what the new fusion spell will do. It'll say, fuse from deck, send 4 material, or it'll be like, send 4 monsters that list Dark Magician to activate this card. Or something ridiculous. And you're like, yes, it's for cost. I send them for cost. That would be sensational, right? Send Mahad, Mana, DMG for cost. And then you get to fusion summon. That would be awesome. And then you're just like, Soul Servant, draw 4. Go to 8 cards in hand. That would be really funny. Alright, we're going to move on in this video because we just spoke about fusions for a long, long time. Wow. Oh yeah, something like you could summon it for the rest of the duel. So people are mentioning in chat, make the cards that are summoned identify as Dark Magician in the field and grave from then on. I know Dragon Knight already does, but something like that would be nice. On Red Eyes Fusion, the card summoned off Red Eyes Fusion identifies as Red Eyes Black Dragon. Why not the same for DM? Would be really good with Eternal Soul. Really would. It really would. Oh, Striker DM time, by the way. You're right, Marcus. It do be Striker DM card. Anyway, let's get on with the video. Ebon High and 2 Ebon Illusion Magician. I think we all know my stance on these XYZs. You're not making them go on first. Unless you're playing Tenya Eva Shooter, unless you're playing Chronicle Magician, unless you're playing a Cash Tier Engine, you're not making a rank 7 go on first, so you shouldn't be playing them. They're not that good of XYZs to be playing them. They are a turn 3 play. You know what I mean? Because turn 1 in DM, you're going to be setting stuff up and making a fusion play. That's about it. If you're going second in DM, you'll be doing the exact same thing. There is no way to make an XZ, whether you go first or second, in DM. In a build like this, at least, where you don't have any of those level 7 extenders or level 7 Chronicle Magician, you know what I mean? How are you getting 2 DMs on the field? How? Magician Souls gets 1, and then what? You're done. So, you really can only make these rank 7s if you play a way to get them out turn 1. I know people are like, oh, you Eternal Soul out 1 and then you Eternal Soul out the other. No, guys, that is like a turn 3 to 5 play. Like, you are not playing extra deck slots, 3 of them at that, for a play that occurs on turn 3 to 5 or onward. Why? And if you are, these cards that you summon on turn 3 to 5, they better win you the damn game, right? They better be that good. What does Ebon Illusion do? It summons a vanilla and then you get a banish in the battle phase if you attack. Okay, I don't think that's worth waiting 3 to 5 turns. Ebon High Magician. It's just bad. I hate talking about this card. There's no way to make it turn 1 once again. So it's best Best case scenario with Ebon High, you make it turn 1, you have 3 cards in your hand, and you can then activate them from your hand. Like, you can activate, like, Solemn Judgment from your hand. Great. However, your opponent can just go Imperm on this, and then you're like, cool. Do I want to waste a Judgment on that? I don't know. It's just bad. I don't like them at all. Yeah. Ebon Illusion Magician has some merit at 1 in some builds, if you have the rank 7s, as I mentioned, if you have the level 7 extenders. There is no reason to play it unless you play like a Naruto engine to rank up into it through like DMG and Apprentice being summoned. Something like that. Something like... No, that's really about it. No, that's about it. Probably just don't play the Xyz, guys.
So, this deck, if you haven't picked up, is kind of more of a... I don't even want to say it's more of a casual deck, because it's like it is and it isn't. Like this is Dragoon Turbo, and it does a pretty good job of getting into Dragoon turn 1, and then
I think we're all done on the deck profile. That's a nice opening hand. It has skill drain, so you probably can win. It has 2 floodgates, so you probably win. Let's talk about the deck. The deck is good. The deck is good, and then the extra deck is really bad. The extra deck had way too many fusions and too many XYZs that could have just been links, right? They could have just been generic links that you can actually take advantage of, allow you to manipulate your resources with, such as Artemis and Link Spider and Imdok, allow you to loop your Rod and Dark Magician. They could have been cards like Dark Selene, access code to Link Climb. They could have been cards like IP Masquerena and Unicorn, or I don't think was... Yeah, of course. IP and what's the other one? I've forgotten. Anyway, you know the one I mean. All of those cards, SP I think it is, all of those cards are just great generic slots here that would work really well. The BLS card is really good. Yeah, I also agree, Yami. Yes, Naruto can rank up in Ebon High, but Naruto is also a negate too, so you could just play that and leave it. But anyway, the point is, there's a lot of XYZs you can play, and you have to be able to make them going first for a start. And none of them are particularly that good. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. You probably just don't want to play any XYZs in DM right now in the current format. Pardon me. Stick to links, stick to fusions. Chaos Angel. Pretty much every DM extra deck should have Chaos Angel. Pardon me. I obviously don't have it in my profiles per se. They're in all my Master Duel profiles because haha, online claim. And I will always tell you to play Chaos Angel. I have not bought one yet because $100 is stupid. If you've seen the ban list where Baron de Fleur and what else? Savage Dragon just got banned. 2 very generic synchro negates got banned. I'm not saying Chaos Angel is a negate, it's a pop, but it's another kind of generic synchro. Like, why would I pay $100 for that card if it's going to get hit? I don't really want to. I'm happy to wait for the reprint. Fleur got a reprint. I picked one up for $5 and now it's banned. Like, great. What? Don't you love playing Yu-Gi-Oh, chat? Anyway, that's the end of the TheSliferSlacker profile. Let me know what you think of this one down in the comments. Actually, pretty good. Pretty solid main. Actually, very impressed with the main. But then, yeah, it got a bit wild in the extra deck, didn't it?